JMath.
The arithmetic series is what this video is about, and you can see the formula we're going to use. So this is the one that is all about Tn. Later in the chapter, we're going to learn other formulas, but for now, it's just this one that you can see. Now, arithmetic sequence sounds very complicated, but it's the same pattern you have been doing from like grade 4, where they just add a specific number or subtract a specific number, and they ask you, what is the next two terms? Or what would be a formula to work out what's the 20th term or something? So in especially grade 10 and 11, there are many variations on this formula. Okay, but now that you are in grade 12, please use this formula. This is the one on your formula sheet, and this is the one that every memo for grade 12 will start with. They'll accept other things, but it is really not advised. Specific questions later in the chapter deal with this formula, and if you do not understand or do not use this formula, you are going to really get stuck with the later questions. So please use this one. A is the first term, D is the difference, and then N is just the position of the term we're looking for, and Tn is the value of the term we're looking for. Okay, let's look at a few examples and then try some on our own. The first question up there, they tell you there is an arithmetic sequence 4, 9, 14. Determine the Tn formula. Now I know A is 4, and D, remember that's what this little bubble here says. D you will get by saying term 2 minus term 1. So that is where we got the 5. 9 minus 4 is 5. I just sub it into this formula, and that's how I get the actual formula for this specific pattern. Okay, now if they ask you calculate the value of the 50th term, they are giving me the position. So I'm just going to sub 50 in the place of n and then type it on my calculator. With the next one, which term in this sequence is equal to 193? So they're not asking me to get the Tn formula, but I can't do anything unless I have the formula. So guys, these are the places where you need to sort of fill the gaps. They ask you something specific, but you need to do other steps before you can answer their question. And that's where practice comes in. So please make sure you practice sequence and series, that you understand the question. So in this one, basically, first get the formula, then don't sub in, make it equal to the value they give you so that you can work out what is n. Okay, they give me the value, they're asking me for the position. With the next question, how many terms are there in the sequence? Okay, so whenever you have a sequence and you see dot, 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 and then a number afterwards, then it means they're exactly the same as this question, where they just gave you a random value and said, what is the position of that value? Now the same thing. They are giving me minus 150, and they are technically asking me, what is the position of that one? Because if I know that this is the 38th term, then I know how many terms are there in the sequence? Only 38, because I know the position of the last one. Once again, I cannot do anything unless I have the Tn formula, so you must know to work that out first. Okay, the last one we're going to look at before we start doing the sums is if they give you an algebra expression as a term. So term 1 is x minus 1. Term 2 is 2x plus 1. Then I need to do this specific method to solve for x. Now in these questions, they must tell you what type of sequence it is, and this is an arithmetic sequence. The moment I know that, then I can use this concept to work out what is x. So remember, always right minus left. I am going to take term 2 minus term 1, and because it's a arithmetic series, it must be equal to term 3 minus term 2. And that's how I set up an algebra equation and solve for x. Okay. Then always just check what is the actual question at the end and make sure you don't forget to actually answer the question. So in this case, I said term 2 minus term 1, term 3 minus term 2. Remember your brackets because there's minuses between. It's going to make a massive difference. If you forget it, you are not going to get to a pattern. Okay. Use algebra, figure out what x is, and then go and sub this value in to actually see what the pattern is. So the pattern is 1, 5, and 9. I can't do sequence and series formulas and everything if there's so many x's and I can't see a pattern with the x's. So sub in to get a numerical pattern, and then you can use the formulas. Okay, let's practice a few. Question A. In this arithmetic sequence, determine the general term. Okay, I can see A is the first term, which is a half, and D is term 2 minus term 1. So minus 1 minus a half gives me minus 3 over 2. You could work with minus 1.5. Doesn't matter. So determine the general term. I can then say Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1 D. Now I know A is a half plus n minus 1, and D in this case is minus 3 over 2. Now it's just a simplification sum, and I'm just going to distribute in, and then we're going to get the answer. So minus 3 over 2n plus 3 over 2. Final answer will then be 2 minus 3 over 2 n. Doesn't matter if the n's are first, the numbers are first, that is up to you, as long as both of them are just there. Okay, next question, calculate the value of the 35th term. So I'm going to take my formula that I just got, and in the place of n, I am going to put in 35. Now you can just type it in the calculator and then get the answer. My calculator tells me this answer is minus 101 over 2, or I can just say minus 50.5. Question 3, which term in this sequence is equal to minus 193? So I'm going to use my Tn formula, but I'm immediately going to just put the minus 193 in the place of Tn, and then say this is 2 minus 3 over 2 n. I am now going to switch the n to the left and the 193 to the right, so this would just be 3 over 2n, and then 2 minus 193 gives me 195, and then I can just divide that by 3 over 2, and that's how I would get the answer. Perfect. N is 130. That means the 130th term is equal to minus 193. Question B, how many terms are there in this sequence? Okay, I am always going to check what is A, it's minus 2. What is D? So it's a half minus 2, so it's 2.5 or 5 over 2. And then they're asking me what is N. Okay, so I know this is the last term, so that is actually Tn. And I'm just going to get a formula and then use the formula to figure out what is n. Okay, Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1, and then D we said was 5 over 2. But I now know that Tn is equal to 361 over 2. You can sub it in now if you want, or you can first get the formula. In most questions, you'll have the formula first, so let's go for that. So Tn is equal to minus 2 plus 5 over 2n minus 5 over 2. That tells me that the answer should be 5 over 2n, and then minus 9 over 2. Okay, great. This I can now make equal to 361 over 2. I don't like all those fractions, so I'm going to multiply everything by 2 to get rid of them. So 5n minus 9. Going to take it over. 370 is equal to 5n, and then just divide everything by 5. Definitely not doing this on a calculator. In my head, it says it's 74. Perfect. How many terms are there in the sequence? There are 74 terms. So now one of those algebra questions, they give me 3 terms, and they say, this is an arithmetic sequence, solve for x and get Tn. Now, firstly, please make sure you can see the separate terms. Otherwise, it's going to be lacquer complicated. So that is T1, that is T2, and that is T3. Okay, I am going to start this by looking at what type of sequence is this. And then, because it's arithmetic, term 2 minus term 1 equals term 3 minus term 2. So I'm going to start with 2x minus, please use brackets, x plus 1 must be equal to 5x plus 5 minus 2x. Okay, now it's just an algebra sum, and I can just solve. Let's just simplify each side first. So 2x minus x just gives me 1x. This minus I'm going to multiply in. Okay, so that just gives me minus 1. This is 3x plus 5, and then I can just solve the equation. So 2x must be equal to minus 6, and therefore x is equal to minus 3. Now the rest of the question says, and get Tn. So now I must get the numerical value of this pattern, and then work out what the formula says. Luckily, that is an arithmetic sequence. It's always a suspenseful moment when you're subbing in and you're wondering, is it going to give me a constant difference? Yes, it is. The constant difference is minus 4. So in this case, I know that A is equal to minus 2, and I know that D is equal to minus 4. So to get the Tn formula, Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1, D is just minus 4. Final answer, Tn is equal to minus 4n plus 2. Question D. So this is something that you can see in exams if they want to be sneaky with you and try to catch you out. So x, y, and 8. Just going to use colors to make it easier. And this pattern are arithmetic sequences. Determine the value of x and y. Now, I'm going to start the same way I started the previous one, with term 2 minus term 1 must be equal to term 3 minus term 2. The only difference now is I'm going to do that twice, once with the orange and once with the green, to get equations, and this is going to end as simultaneous equations. So I'm going to say y minus x is equal to 8 minus y. Okay, from there, I can now choose to get x or y alone. I am going to go for getting x alone. So I'm going to move this minus y, I'm going to move over. So this is 2y minus 8 would be equal to x. Okay, great. That is my orange sequence simplified. Now I'm going to go with term 2 minus term 1 for green, so 4x minus 1 must be equal to 3y minus 4x. Unfortunately, in this one, there's nothing I can get alone without dealing with horrible fractions, but I can just simplify and say 8x minus 1 is equal to 3y, and that would be my green sequence. Okay, now in simultaneous equations, they taught you, please label this, so this is equation 1, and that is equation 2. And now I must just tell them, what on earth am I going to do to solve this? I am going to say, okay, so sub 1 into 2. Okay, so that means 2 is my main equation, but I'm going to sub into the place of x. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2y minus 8. And then I am going to solve for y, and if I have y, I can then get x. And I can see that y is equal to 5. Now I'm going to take that, sub it back into equation 1, and then solve for x. And there we go. X is 2 if y is 5. Now, if this is my prelim or finals, I will definitely test if I am correct and if I can shut down that question and move to the next one. So let's see. If I take the orange equation and I say, I saw that x is 2, I saw that y is 5, and they tell me that term 3 is 8. Okay, that is an arithmetic sequence because I'm saying plus 3, so that works. You don't need to test the other one, but let's do. So 1, and then 4 times x, so that's 8, and then 3 times y, which would be 15. I am plussing 7 the whole time. So now I know for sure that I am correct. I have these marks. I can go on to the next question. Great, guys. That was the arithmetic Tn formula. This chapter is going to get large and many other formulas. So please make sure you know what you need to know for this one so we can go to the advanced questions.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JJ Math.